There was a time when dawn was predictable. The streets came to life, houses woke up, and the world moved forward just as it always had. But that ended silently on the day people simply stopped waking up. It was an almost too subtle beginning. A man who didn't wake up for work, a child who didn't open their eyes in the morning, a couple found asleep, each still holding the other's hand. They seemed just resting, but the rest stretched beyond hours, then beyond days, and eventually beyond human understanding. The machines kept running, the clocks kept ticking. For a few moments, the world still tried to behave like before, but the people remained still, asleep in a silence so deep that no whisper, no scream, no despair seemed to reach them. It was in this period of confusion that it emerged. At first, it was just a glow, a soft blue light emanating from small points on the Earth. Someone recorded a video showing luminescent spheres sprouting between dry leaves and posted it online. For a brief moment, it became a curiosity, even a meme. They're the fireflies of the end of the world, they called it. But they weren't insects. They weren't there to decorate the darkness. Scientists classified them as a completely new type of bioluminescent fungus. Beautiful, hypnotic, an organism that seemed to breathe with the night itself. The first colonies were found near areas where many people had stopped waking up. Then in the outskirts of cities, then in the cities, and eventually everywhere. Still, no one suspected. It was too beautiful to alarm, so soft, so alive, so enchanting. But beauty, as always, was just the surface.
Without warning, the fungus began to grow faster. It covered walls, roofs, alleys, bridges, skyscrapers, as if the world was being painted with strokes of cold light. At night, everything pulsed like the heartbeat of a gigantic organism. The bioluminescence wasn't constant. Sometimes it glowed slowly. Sometimes it sped up, as if it was reacting or observing. That's when some decided to get too close. Researchers, curious individuals, people who just wanted to capture the beauty. They were the first to change.
The changes weren't immediate. They started with small memory lapses, a forgotten name, a confused address, an inexplicable sense of tranquility, as if an inaudible sound was calming every thought. Then came the pauses, long pauses, moments when the person simply stopped, staring at nothing, breathing slowly, as if they were listening to something. They said they felt a presence, a soundless voice, a song that didn't come from outside, but from within. It was then that it became clear. The fungus wasn't just growing, it was communicating.
And then, inevitably, replacing. The affected still walked, they still smiled, they still had human gestures, but their eyes didn't align with the events around them. They didn't react to the chaos. They showed no fear. They expressed no will. They all repeated small patterns, the same words, the same phrases, the same movements, and all, without exception, followed the same direction. The areas where the fungus shone the brightest. They now called themselves vessels. That's how they referred to themselves when they spoke, as containers belonging to something larger. Then there were the resistors, those who, for unknown reasons, weren't attracted to the bright light.
Maybe a genetic defect, maybe a mental barrier, maybe just luck. They didn't sleep deeply. They woke in the middle of confusing dreams, full of echoes, full of symbols. Dreams of roots twisting, eyes glowing underground. A vast, ancient, fragmented consciousness trying to remember its own name. It was between these dreams that the Resistors made the first connection. The fungus wasn't just growing to spread, it was growing to remember. Improvised investigations led the Resistors to places where the fungus seemed older. Underground caves, deep fissures, areas where the rock displayed geometric patterns as if it had been molded thousands of years before the existence of humanity. There, they found signs no one knew how to interpret. Repeated marks, spiral shapes, incomplete cycles, structures resembling fossilized nerves. The fungus was trying to reconstruct something, or reconnect with something. The theories multiplied. Some believed the fungus was a primordial survivor, a planetary consciousness that had been dormant since prehistoric times, waiting for the Earth to cool, waiting for the world to become silent enough to emerge. Others believed it was an interstellar invader, a kind of living mind without a body, traveling between planets, assimilating their life forms and adding them to a universal memory. And there was yet a darker hypothesis, that the fungus wasn't waking up, but rather searching for something it had lost, something it needed to recover, something it needed human minds for, to fill them, reorganize them, and use their memories as pieces of a biological puzzle to understand itself. Meanwhile, the sleepers, those who fell in the first outbreak, remained inert, breathing, alive, dreaming in silence. Scholars realized their brainwaves were synchronizing with the fungus's pulse, more and more aligned, as if they were part of the same gigantic, growing organism. The fear wasn't just that they might never wake up, but rather that when they did wake up, they wouldn't be human anymore. Today, the world is divided between sleepers, millions of living bodies connected to the fungus's great silent dream. Vessels, those who lost their identities, replaced by the bright collective consciousness. Resistors, the few who still fight to keep their memories intact, while the blue glow continues to advance through the nights. And now, the greatest mystery remains unanswered. What does the fungus want? What is the ultimate goal of its consciousness? Expand? Remember? Dominate? Repair what it lost? Or transform the very Earth into a single, living, pulsing, shared being? Perhaps it doesn't seek to destroy humanity, but to integrate it. Perhaps it doesn't want to extinguish individuality, but to replace it with a single mind that stretches from the deepest root to the farthest sky. Or perhaps it just woke up by accident, and now it's trying to figure out what it truly is.
The question that echoes among the few still awake is the most feared. When the fungus finally regains its full memory, when it remembers who it was, what it believes, what it lost, what will it do with us? And if people stopped waking up, perhaps it's because we're no longer alone within ourselves. Perhaps the next awakening won't be human.